most people like Ferg and Fred, they love these. Of course, Ferg is colorblind. That's a fact. Okay, here we go. You ready, Adam? Good evening and welcome to On the Tee, Florida, a production of our new partner, Shipyard Sports Connection, on this April 16th, 2026, at our Ice Pick Vodka on the Tee studios with a live studio audience broadcasting from Sea Dogs Brewing Company down here on Treasure Island on the Intercoastal. My talented team of Bill Butner and Ashley Grimaldi, they'll be calling in from the St. Pete Country Club with some reports on the guest member event that took place today. John Rager, 40 years PGA of America professional, president of the Florida Sports Hall of Fame. He's at the Sea Dogs Seaside Studio on the sands of St. Augustine Beach. And to my right is Kip Engel, former communications director of the Cardinals and the Yankees, and he also owns the golfauction.com. Gentlemen, great to have you both on board. How did I do with the Sea Dogs Seaside Studio?
You did just great. I tell you what, I'm proud of you there. And you notice that everything we post out there on the Tee Florida on the YouTube channel now and some of the segments is always from the Sea Dog Seaside Seashell St. Augustine studio. So, Mike, you did a great job with that. And, hey, and I like what you're wearing tonight.
I forgot seashell.
Well, you forgot the seashell. I kind of left the seashell out.
I told you I took a part-time job at the elementary school at the crosswalk.
Hey, Mike, you're wearing some. You and Kip are wearing some great on the tee swag. Look at that. Look at the hats. Look at the jackets. My goodness.
We'll get you. Well, we're never gonna. Even if I gave you some, you would never wear it because you represent the fun side of our group.
You have to have it in straw right here. You have to have a straw hat. Get the logo on. Nice little
Absolutely,
straw hat.
Barry Smith. We're going to. We got a great conversation coming up with Adam Woodard. He's one of our constants. He is the editor of the Friday Golf. We'll talk to him, and then Ward Clayton. We missed Ward Clayton a couple weeks ago, and he is the author of several books and regarding Augusta, the legendary caddies of Augusta, and he's part of the Masters media support and coordinator. And we'll look back at the 90th, which was one hell of a Masters, gentlemen.
Sure was. That was great golf. We can only hope that foreshadows what we've got coming in the next three majors of the year, because if you can have back and forth like that, really looking forward to hearing from Adam and his thoughts on Augusta this year. Quite an interesting event, and a great champion, a great family.
You're listening to Florida's #1 golf show. We're on our flagship station, 96.7 FM, RadioSt.Pete.com, Florida Sports Streams, and now you're watching us on YouTube Live, and we'll be on Facebook, and of course we're on Instagram. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe, please. Unique, entertaining content. John does a superb job in sports, from the Pee-wees to the preps to the pros, and Adam Fernandez has just knocked it out of the park with our intern duo, and that's Jake and Milena, and we'll have a great show on Saturday from 11 to 1 at Ferg Sports Bar and Grill, another one of our great sponsors. As I said, our PGA Pro, that's Bill Butner. He was on the tour for 15 years, and he's a teaching professional at St. Pete Country Club, still out there, and we'll talk to him live from there with Ashley. And he also founded the Eckerd College men's program as well. Second hour, we're going to talk to John's good buddy, and that, of course, is Michael Furr, and we'll talk to him about string bean, Scotty Scheffler, as well as his new Guinness Book of World Records, a pyramid. We'll talk about that now, but right now, let's dive into a conversation and have John introduce Adam Woodard. Take it away, John.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Tee Florida, the 6:04 p.m. pairing. An alumni at George Mason University who is active in student media and sports broadcasting, worked the grounds crew and clubhouse at Ridgetop Golf Course, Medina, Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the editor of Friday Golf, Adam Woodard.
There it is.
There it is. That's what you wanted to hear. That'll inspire you, brother.
I was getting ready for the studio to erupt, but we got the clap factory in, so I love that. But let's not waste any time with any intro here. Like, let's get to it. There's so much stuff to talk about this week. I'm fired up to get going.
There is so much, and so we thought we'd try to narrow it down. Obviously, the Masters.
Yep.
Obviously, Live Golf.
Yep.
Hey, and obviously, because of FriedEgg.com being so heavily involved with golf course architecture, Davis Love redid the Heritage, with the Tartan Plaid golf course there at Harbortown Links, where they're playing the RBC Heritage right now. And a big course design. I listened to Ricky Fowler a little bit today to talk about it. So we're going to talk about the Masters. We're going to talk about Live Golf, and we're going to talk about the RBC Heritage. And just take it away, Adam, and we'll get a word wise about an hour from now. Go for it.
Where do we want to start?
Perfect.
Well, let's start with the Masters.
Rory McIlroy, what a guy, what a champion! Like, is he ever going to lose the Masters again? Genuinely curious. Like, he just might win it every year from here on out. Now, if he can play and win the way that he did with how bad he played early on in that week and still come out on top, it was incredible. I've been a Rory fan for a very long time. He's only a couple years older than I am. So when I was growing up, seeing him at like 16 and 17 years old playing professional golf, and I'm working the cart barn at a local course. Shout out Ridgetop Golf Course in Medina. I love getting that in the intro there. But I looked up to him so much in the way he kind of went about him and carried himself. And now he's even more of a guy to look up to for young players, because if your game's not going well, you're still in the fight, right? That's why you play 72 holes. With how bad it got off the tee, him not even finding fairways on par fives, still grinding his way to be able to get up and down for birdies and save shots. And it wasn't even the fact of the birdies he made, but it was the lack of bogeys and doubles, the crooked numbers he left off the card that really impressed me. But for him to go out and play the way he did, I thought it was great. It was exciting stuff on Sunday. I think 3 or 4 different people had the lead throughout that stretch. It just shows how good Augusta National is when it gets a little bit more firm and fast when the ball's on the ground. You saw a lot of those holes play really difficult. I know some people were a little bit upset with, the lack of eagle putts on, 13 and 15 early in the week. But, there's only so much you can do with, when the wind gets going or when it doesn't go. And they have to hold on to the course, right? The people that wanted 4 days of Thursday, that's just not possible. You can't have a course hang up in those kind of conditions to be a major championship test for 4 days. So scores were always gonna get a little crazy on Friday, especially when there was no wind. But for Rory to roll with the punches the way he did, I thought was just truly impressive, and was probably more impressive than his win last year. In a sense, obviously, to win your first one goes a long way. But if let's say last year doesn't happen, and if Rory plays the same way that he did this year, I don't think he wins. I don't think he has the mettle. I don't think he has the mindset, the fact of, hey, I already have one of these green jackets. I know what to do here. I'm not sure he's able to save a lot of those shots that he did. So for him to hang on the way he did and go out and win it was great. I loved what he said after, talking about his family. I thought that was really stuff. That's the stuff that, I'm a family guy, very close with my family. So that's the stuff that hits home to me too. So seeing him with Poppy, his parents, his wife, just really gets you in the feels. And, it's great that the Masters can continue to deliver great tournaments like this. We're on one hell of a stretch of great finishes at the Masters. And I hope this continues for a very long time.
Adam, just a thought. You seem pretty committed there that you thought that Rory was the man, that he would come back even as he was starting to falter on the backside. How did you think he'd keep the driver and stripe the driver as well as he did on 17 and 18? And if you didn't think him, which of the other contenders that fought into the battle there did you think was coming through? Did you think Scotty would be able to come back and get it done? Did you like Justin at the turn? Give me your thoughts.
There was a time where there were probably 6 or 7 guys you could have made a legitimate case for on Sunday to win the thing, right?
That was the beauty of it.
Yeah, it really was. It's kind of like, and I know we talked about this at the Ryder Cup too. Every Sunday of every Ryder Cup, there's like an hour, 90-minute window where no matter how big the deficit is, there's a chance that the team that's losing can come back, right? There's always that 1 hour stretch where it's like they make you believe that anything can happen. And that's what happened with a lot of the guys out there this weekend. I thought Justin Rose already had one arm in the jacket at one point. So devastating for him to not get another one. I know we've seen Rory come back year and year again, but for Rosie and his, I can't remember, I know exactly how old he is, but 40 something, to do it on the anniversary of Jack winning at 46, I thought would have been just incredibly poetic, and just the kind of stuff we see at Augusta. I thought he had a legitimate chance. JT for sure. When he was, not JT, Justin Rose, I'm sorry. Not JT, Scotty. Jeez.
That'd be JR.
Yeah, JR. Yeah. There, no, I was trying to think of Scotty there. I just got all my Americans mixed up there for a second. Scotty, that's putt on 17. He's going to be thinking about that for such a long time. But it's the fact that, the one thing that I love that I think, someone from Golf Digest or golf.com might have written is, it wasn't the putt on 17. It was the rounds on Thursday and Friday. It's easy to point to that putt on 17, with it only being a one-shot deficit there. But there's so many other shots that were left out on the course in the first 3 rounds that I bet he was kicking himself for not getting. But just one hell of an exciting finish. And to your question, your original question about me being confident in Rory, I'm more confident in Rory than when he was even and after he blew the 6-shot lead than with a 6-shot lead, right? He doesn't play well with the lead. It's just there's something in his mindset where it just doesn't compute for him. He likes having a little bit of skin in the game and having to be on edge a little bit and take some chances, take some shots. So I was really confident in that. And as far as how bad his driving was, it just came down to the fact of this is a generational driver of the golf ball. He's going to figure it out eventually. And then that's what I hang my hat on, because you had nothing to view on the first couple of days that he'd be able to come out and do it. But then for him to go out and do it, like that's the stuff that major champions are made of. You have your C game, arguably the strongest part of your game, and yet you still go out when it's on the line, put it on the table, go all in and hit great shots like that and see it out. That's why he's a major champion. That's why he's arguably the best player of his generation.
Hey, Adam.
How about the drive on 18?
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
How about the drive on 18? What the hell? Everybody thought, he's just going to cruise in, and then in true Rory fashion, he freaking sends it into the other fairway.
Yeah, it was so bad it was good. He went so far to the right that he had a shot at it, right? Like it was so bad that he actually had a legitimate chance. And when you're seeing that, you're thinking, oh man, like last year, here we go again. Like here we go again. It's going to have to be another playoff. He doesn't make things easy on himself, and he never has. But just the fact to step up and the confidence he had to hit that shot. I don't know if you guys saw the guy that blew the cigar smoke or whatever, that was just like engulfing him, and yet he still steps up and hits it. Like that's just crazy stuff happens at the Masters down the stretch. Like you remember Tiger down the stretch, there was that security guard that slipped and fell that almost took him out. Like just little things like this, little things like that always happen at the Masters, that these little plot points where if one little thing goes wrong down the stretch, you never know. But the place is just absolute cinema, and it just puts on out hit after hit after hit.
Hey, Adam, let's shift gears to the Masters. Something a little different. You mentioned
the
little things. The friedegg.com, you guys have arguably one of the top 5 podcasts in golf, and I wasn't able to listen to it this week, but I don't know if the boys had any comment on how the Masters did some non-traditional things on Wednesday for the par 3 with Kevin Hart, the comedian, and Jason.
That's where I was going to go, John. Great job.
Well, great minds think alike, Mike. My goodness.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of curious because. That was always a non-traditional day, but it seems like it's, and I didn't mind it. It was kind of entertaining. I love to watch the par 3 and the kids running around and stuff like that. So, what'd you think of it? And what'd you guys think of the non-traditional look on Wednesday at the Masters?
Mixed and divided opinions in the Fried Egg Golf Slack channel. I'll say that. I think the Kevin Hart thing, look, if a player wants to have a guy like that out to go do it, that's great. That's not something Augusta set up. I'm pretty sure that was just the player saying, hey, let's have Kevin Hart come out and do this. As far as having, the Kelsey coalition come in and ham things up a little bit. Okay. Like what the Masters wants to do, they're trying to get to a different audience. They're trying to maybe let their, loosen up the collar a little bit, undo that top button, let loose the tie a little bit. They're never gonna. I mean, I thought it was crazy when the Dude Perfect guys went out and did this stuff a couple of years ago. I thought that was wild. I never thought we would see the day for anything like that to happen. So this comparatively is way different.
Hey, tell our viewers about Dude Perfect, who this guy is, and actually what he did. There's a lot of people don't even have a clue of what this is, and it's fascinating that Fred Ridley, the chairman of Augusta National, will allow this to happen. Tell us about that.
I think I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago maybe, but they went out with Bryson and they shot a bunch of stuff around like Amen Corner where they had just like all of they do like a lot of trick shots, and they're well known online for all the stuff they do. But they just came out to film at Augusta National, which like no one's allowed to film on the course, especially during tournament week, which was crazy. So the fact that Chairman Ridley, like you said, it allowed that to happen. You can bet that the last six chairman, never would have allowed anything like that to happen. But it shows that Augusta National is kind of, welcoming more media in. Look at our, the company I work for, Fried Egg. We never would have had, as a content creating company, we never would have had people be able to go. We've had a photographer there the last 3 years. They're for media that are covering the event in non-traditional ways. They're open, to doing more stuff like that, which I think is good. It brings in a new audience, which it brings in a younger audience. But I think most people are going to watch the Masters anyway, so I'm not sure it's really needed. But I'm also not going to be the type that's gonna just sit there and say, hey, this is dumb. I want it to be the old way. It didn't offend me. It didn't bother me. And if people didn't like hearing Jason Kelsey on the TV or seeing Kevin Hart, turn something else on and wait for the golf to start on Thursday. Because no matter what happens Monday through Wednesday, all of that's in the past. And it focuses on the golf, and the golf takes center stage. And that's something that's always true about the Masters. Once those honorary starters kick things off on Thursday morning, it's game on from there, and all that other stuff doesn't matter.
Hey, let's shift
And yet
gears,
they rejected Pat McAfee, guys.
Well, of course, yeah, they still let him on the grounds there, Mike. Though, but
Yeah.
I think he had to not wear a shirt like this, show his guns or something like
Dress
that.
code would have gone. Dress code would have been a bit different for Pat, I think. Yeah.
Hey, Adam, let's shift gears. Let's talk about Live Golf. What in the heck
Yeah.
is going on with Live Golf this week?
That's a great question, and no one seems to really have a firm answer on it. Depending on what you're reading and what you're seeing, Live folks are continuing on. Yeehaw, we're going in. All systems forward, gas on the pedal. We're going, our foot on the gas. We're going down, and we're continuing on. Talk to other people in the media and industry, and people on the public investment side. It's not great. And I think it all depends on what you believe, and if you want to believe a PR spin that everything's great, or if you want to believe very tried and true organizations like the Financial Times, the New York Times, ESPN, the Wall Street Journal. All of these people have public investment fund sources and are saying that this thing isn't going to be around for much longer. The Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, obviously the sole funders of Live Golf. There was a report that Live is going to have spent, I think it was $6 billion on Live, or by the end of this season, which are a very, very big figure to swallow, looking at crowd sizes and TV viewership numbers, and the fact that two of their best players, didn't renew their contracts, and arguably their best player now has his heels dug in contract negotiations. So things certainly aren't great for Live. I'm not sure if you've seen their broadcast blacked out today about 5 minutes into the broadcast. So they're having technical difficulties due to power outages. Maybe, you never know with a grid in Mexico City, that could be real. They said they had power issues on Tuesday when they canceled press conferences and closed down the media center. Not sure believe what you will. You got to give them the benefit of the doubt that sure, maybe they are having power issues, but I don't know.
They couldn't pay. What I heard, they couldn't pay the television bill.
Yeah, and that's some players have said they've been paid. I trust a lot of the people at Golf Channel that are saying that a lot of players and agents haven't been paid and that vendors haven't been paid. They have no reason to lie about that. I believe their sources. Some teams might be struggling more than others to pay their players, but it all comes down to money. And this is what it's always been. With Live, is how long are the Saudis willing to fund this thing, and how long until Live becomes viable. Live's own CEO said a couple months ago they're not going to be profitable for 10 years, and he said at the Masters to anybody that would listen, they're funded through 2032. Fast forward a week and a half later, and now they're only funded through the end of 2026. Like the story is changing so much, and I think it all comes down to the fact that the Live's end is probably near. If they make it to the end of the season, impressive. But if they're already having problems with funding, I don't understand why they see out the rest of this year, why they still pay this out. It's going to get really interesting with the war efforts and stuff too. What's going with everything going on in the Middle East. Alan Shipnuck is reporting that an agent told him that the Saudis want to use the war in the Middle East as a force majeure to cancel Live and scrap it, which you could then make the case that, okay, all the contracts that need to get paid out, you don't have to do that. We saw that happen a lot with companies throughout COVID. A lot of companies weren't able to pay out contracts for contracted employees, and because of that unforeseen circumstance that comes in, they were able to get away with it. Now that question leads to, all right, so if the guys want to sue, do you sue in the United States where Liv has headquarters? Do you sue in London where Liv has headquarters? Do you have to sue in Saudi Arabia? Like, good luck suing the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia in Saudi Arabia courts. Like, that's not going to go over well for you. You might have a chance in the US or the UK maybe, but there's just so much happening right now. There's so much smoke leading to this. And that's the one thing that's you have to kind of take a lot of what's being reported with a grain of salt. But when there's this much smoke, there's got to be something, right? A lot of people wouldn't put their careers and their reporting careers on the line just by spewing out something they wouldn't know.
Hey, Adam, before we throw it over to Kip for a question here, you just made me think of something. I need to call my wife and make sure we have our cable TV bill paid. I mean, after hearing about Live Golf can't pay their TV bill, and they spend $6 billion a year or whatever. Right?
Yeah. I'm not going to pocket watch you, John, but I think theirs might be a bit deeper than yours. So.
Yeah, probably so.
Putting the business side aside for a moment, Adam, we all know it's about the players, and the players is what got this going. Who do you see as possibly the next defecting player, and who is in for the long run to the last minute? What player does not defect from the cause and is there at the bitter end?
That's a great question, and it's a tough one. I thought we might have seen more than just Brooks Koepka coming back with that player returning program that the tour put out earlier. I thought we might have seen one of those guys go. Bryson, there's a lot of stuff that's going on about he's asking for a couple $100 million for his new contract deal. It can Liv stomach that? Does he do enough for them to have it? I'm sure if this thing goes south, Golf Saudi will still be a sponsor for him. They love him, and he's done a lot for them over the years. But you got to think that the guys like Poulter, who are have really dug their heels in over the years, the guys that really have no shot at coming back to the PGA Tour. But the real interesting thing there about the guys coming back is they're coming back to a tour that they won't recognize. It's going to be smaller fields. There are signature events. It's getting way more cutthroat out on the tour. So a lot of these guys who were fringe players, that's why they went to Live, because they were already fringe players when they were having 125 cards a year. Now it's down to 100 with these limited field events. A lot of these guys don't stand a prayer coming back. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think you'll see a lot of the young guys, the Elvis Smileys, the Tom McKibbins, the Spanish guys that have signed on with the Fireballs, Ballester, and then I'm blanking on the other kid's name, Luis something maybe. They'll come back for sure. They'll have shots. It's going to be interesting to see what the tour does. How do they welcome them back? Do they do another sort of returning member program? Are we going to see John Rahm playing Korn Ferry Tour events, which would be absolutely hysterical? Like John Rahm playing some beater course in Wichita, trying to shoot 27 under, beating some 23-year-old kid that just not bad mouthing it. Is just the PGA Tour doesn't go to Wichita. That's all I'm saying. I'm not bad mouthing it, but he's not playing the players in Wichita, right? But it's going to be crazy to see how this all pans out. This is all just getting started. The last 48 hours have felt like a year with all the different news that's been coming out and all the different things that have been said. It's going to be so much to follow, but the good thing is we're going to have a lot to talk about and report on, which is selfishly good for all of us. So I'm not too mad about it.
Well, I was just
You're watching On the Tee Florida, and we're talking to Adam Woodard. He is the editor of Friday Golf, and is kind enough to get back in the mix with us. We appreciate it, brother. And when you're on, it increases our views and likes. So I appreciate you supporting our expansion. Go ahead, John.
No, that last thought gave me an idea, Adam. So you know how John Daly
love this.
Well, John Daly has his Good Boy vodka, right? And not too long ago, literally, I get an email alert, and John Daly's in St. Augustine, Florida, at State Road 207 and I-95 at the Circle K convenience store and gas station, and he's making an appearance, and he's signing, he's making an appearance. I go down, there's John Daly, and he's signed. So
at the Circle K?
At the Circle K in St. Augustine. So I'm just thinking if John Rahm ends up in Wichita, and has to play in the Korn Ferry Tour, he ought to come out with his own sangria seltzer, and he might as well make a few bucks on the side. Get down there, make an appearance at the Valero gas station, and hold court.
Is there not a Hooters in St. Augustine, and that's why he was at the Circle K?
No, the St. Augustine is the nation's oldest city, founded in 1501 or something like that. So so the talent here for the Hooters is a lot different than you would have up there in North Carolina or down in
Depends on
St.
how old you
Petersburg,
are,
Florida.
John.
Yeah, we got a lot of
Right,
people
yeah.
here. We got old people here. There's no talent. There's no talent.
You bring the median age down, don't you?
Yeah, yes, I do. That's scary. Hey, let's shift gears to one more thing. We talked about
Yeah.
the RBC Heritage. If you
Mm-hmm.
notice, I'm sipping on a glass of water here. It's a tartan plaid.
I love that.
And we know that the RBC Heritage has a lot of customs. They have Plaid Nation. Saturday is Plaid Day. They have a Boeing Dreamliner that flies over the golf course on Saturday. They have a cannon that
The
fires
cannon.
off. Yeah. And, it's the 58th playing of it. So, I don't know if you've been down there or whatever, but, what's your thoughts on the RBC Heritage this week? Because, it's a signature event. It's right after the Masters. And there's some people didn't want to play, and even though it's a signature event.
Yeah, I think, and this will all get worked out when the tour kind of revamps their schedule, hopefully for 27, if not for 2028. Having a signature event either right before or right after a major, we can't be doing that. We can't be lumping these tournaments together. It's not good for the players. I think guys were talking about playing, 3 and 4 or 5 weeks or something like that. The schedule's got to get figured out, and I think that's something that new CEO Brian Roloff has said. That they're working on and that they're going to do. He'll make it work out and it'll be different. I don't love having a signature event right after a major like that. The guys are, and especially one like the Masters too. Like not to belittle the PGA, but it's not really that comparable to the Masters. You could maybe pull it off or something like that. But the Masters is such a mentally grueling tournament. Every major is. Don't get me wrong, but it's different for the Masters, right? And it's different at Augusta National. So having a tournament right after, it's a bit of a bummer. But if you're going to do it anywhere, Harbor Town probably the place to do it. I know a lot of guys really like it. It's a fan favorite tournament too. The players that are really taken care of there, especially their families. I've actually never been to the RBC. I've been to Harbor Town before. Got to walk around, explore the course a little bit. Haven't played, but spent a little bit of time. We used to vacation down in the Hilton Head area. But it's never been down there for a tournament, but it's always one I've wanted to. And it's like you said, for those little traditions that they have. One thing I love about the tour and a lot of their events are those little fun traditions that they have. My favorite one is the John Deere Classic with the big dig that they do, where they have all the compounds and stuff. I love the John Deere. We've talked about this. I've spent many a 4th of July in the thriving metropolis of Silvis. Being there for 4th of July weekend
and pizza joint.
I've been to every single one of them because there's not a whole lot else to do there. The museum downtown's great too. But no, they have the big dig, where they bring the kids out and they have the big combines and stuff and the backhoes that they can, play with all the stuff. So I love those little side events that happen at every tournament. I want to see the cannon. One of my favorite PGA Tour clips is when it scared the absolute hell out of Matt Fitzpatrick when they fired it off a few years ago. And you can see him jump up a little bit and just get a little, even though he knows it's coming, but it's just such a booming cannon. So I think that little old school stuff like that, really hits home for me. But it's a great tournament. It's a great event. It's a great golf course. Like you said earlier, Davis Love, doctoring it up a little bit, making some changes. But it's a place the guys hold in very high regard, and you gotta respect that.
Adam, you see somebody coming in that had a big week last week and is in good form. The leaderboard early on, obviously Oberg, English, and Hovland, all three of them, nice weeks last week. What do you see? Is it in good form, and does it matter that they added 30 yards to the course there? Is it they've lengthened it a little bit? Is it still a shot maker's course like it's always been known for?
I think so. Yeah, I think adding a little bit of length is just something you have to do in the current climate of professional golf with 460cc drivers and how good these guys are getting with the driver talent. So you need to add a little bit of length here, and you have to make it slightly more difficult. But it still is, like you said, it's a precision course. It's a shot maker's course, right? You have to be dialed, with your approaches. And looking at the leaderboard here, a lot of guys are. But also looking at this leaderboard, you're seeing, like you said, a lot of names who are in form. And when you're playing in a limited field event, at a challenging, exacting course like this one, the cream's going to rise to the top, right? You're not going to see a whole lot of fluke winners at a course or at an event like this. So seeing Ludwig up there, you expect to see that. Victor Hovland, a place like this. Michael Brennan, a very impressive young player. Can't wait to see what he does. Just made his Masters debut last week. But the name that stands out is Gary Woodland. I want all the great things in life to happen to Gary Woodland for what he's been through. The fact that he's able to play competitive golf after having a brain, tumor and surgery, and then having to deal with the crippling PTSD, that he has and the anxiety that he feels. Just having people around him on the first tee, he gets uncomfortable. And like at a place like the Masters, for him to go out and perform the way that he did is insane. And like I said earlier, people show up to the RBC. There's going to be a lot of crowds there, and he was a fan favorite before his surgery and before everything that he's talked about these last few weeks. Now, I don't think there's any. He's probably one of the most followed people on the course outside of the top 5 players in the world. He's a big name and guys love him, and it's so fun to hear when he's walking through the courses. You just hear everybody, "We love you, Gary. We're with you, Gary. Let's go, Woody," and stuff. The crowd support around him has been fantastic. So I really hope we see him hang around, because to talk about a guy that you can really look up to, and a guy that the tour's looking for personalities, looking for stars to step up. There's a lot of really young talent, but seeing a guy like Gary Woodland come back and revitalize his career after everything he's done, the tour couldn't ask for a better story for these early parts of the year.
Adam, you're with the older generation today with this trio, and I know how much you absolutely love the seniors tournament. But we've got the Seniors PGA Championship just down the road at Bradenton. I'm sure you've got it all broke down for us tonight.
Yeah, my favorite senior golfer tied for the lead, my guy Miguel Angel Jimenez. I don't know, I love that guy, so good to see him in the mix. And this is a who's who of the leaderboard. Bernie up there as well. It's impressive to see. Scores at 6 under, 5 under. Guys are going out there and getting it, and it's not an easy course that they're at either. So I admittedly haven't seen too much of it today. Still chasing down a lot of this live stuff, but I'll watch some highlights later and see how the course is playing. But with these senior majors, I think it's great to see. Like I said earlier, the cream rises to the top at these tough events, and at the senior level, it does too. You don't get a whole lot of fluke winners, so seeing a lot of these big names on the leaderboard is great. And I'm hoping we can see my guy Miguel Angel step up and do it. But another name I see on the leaderboard, Ben Crane, 5 under through 14, former golf boy. He's finally getting his senior career. Wow. His senior career off and running. So excited to see what he can do.
One last thing regarding you guys, and Bill Butner's there right now too. You guys have harassed me about Iowa and Zach Johnson forever, and he makes his debut on the Champions Tour, wins the event, gets two consecutive third places. However, today he's +1 in about 52nd place. But he's going to make a big difference on the Champions Tour as well.
Well, I mean, he's 50. He should be playing. He should be winning. He's like 15 years younger than a lot of the people he's going up against. He should be winning these events.
He's just a pup. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, we appreciate everything you do for us. Say hi to Bill Butner and Ashley.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Ash.
Member guest week.
Love that. I'm bummed I missed you guys, but I'll have to keep tune in here and see how things are going down there. Miss you guys. It's been a while.
We'd love to have you out sometime, so come on down.
He knows he has an open invitation, but he's a busy young man, and we'll get him down here maybe for the Annika this year.
This is where Mike had his legendary showing. This is where you got introduced to the real side of golf.
That's right. Hard work, grit.
Precisely. All right, Adam. Thank you very much, man, for taking time out. I'll give you a call when I visit with you about a couple of other items of note, and it's always a pleasure to have you on.
Sounds good. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
Adam Woodard, FridayGolf.com. John, I know you get their newsletter, and I've been getting it. They do a superb job. Well, now, without further delay, why don't you introduce that duo that everybody may have forgotten, since I haven't had them on for about a month.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 6:33 p.m. pairing for On the Tee Florida. A 15-year PGA Tour veteran and legendary golf coach. A lady who's known as the Memphis Belle. And both of them are known as the George and Gracie of St. Petersburg Country Club. Please welcome Miss Ashley Grimaldi and Bill Butner.
I think this is my first introduction. I feel honored.
Well, we feel honored.
You should be honored. You're sitting next to Big Red.
I know. He gets so much fanfare wherever I go with him. Everyone's like, Bill. No,
I don't know who they are.
Yeah. He doesn't.
I want to jump in and ask you a couple questions here. And the first question I want to ask is St. Petersburg Country Club having their member guests, which member guests at any private club in North America is the most special weekend. And we say weekend, it probably started Wednesday or Thursday and culminating with Sunday or so. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this special golf tournament, your roles in it, and how much fun you're having there at St. Pete Country Club for the member guest.
Let's start. Well, I'd like to start out by saying 2026, or actually the 2025-26 season is bringing us something new. We've always traditionally had one member guest, which has been in November, but we have had such a huge response and so many members that want to play. Life has changed a lot. People have flexible schedules that we've had to go to 2 member guests.
Which are both filled. Both have been filled all the way.
So this spring edition is our second. It's almost like having a national holiday here at the club. It's a 3-day tournament, food, drinks, golf, fanfare, you name it, we got it.
The practice round today, followed by we call it a horse race here. We got the 3 nines tomorrow, 2 nines on Saturday.
Hey, Bill, back up for a sec. For our viewers out there, they may not know what is a horse race at a member guest.
Well, we don't talk about it too much, but it's kind of, let's say, putting a little something on the line in case you play well.
It's illegal gambling.
No, it's not illegal.
It's play money. It's monopoly money.
I always say we don't really talk money at St. Petersburg Country Club.
That's right.
Okay.
So tonight,
you forget I work there. You forget I got inside information.
That's why you don't work there anymore.
That's probably right.
You never talk about Fight Club. Right.
So the 2 teams, member and a guest, play 5 different matches. They earn points on each 9-hole match, and the top point getters in each flight get to go to the shootout, and the shootout eliminates one by one until there's two teams left on the 18th tee, and those 2 teams fight it out for the winning member guest title. So it's a beautiful start. Obviously, the weather's great.
And it's like summer.
Golf course is in great shape. Everything, everybody's here.
We have a cigar roller here tonight. We have a bourbon company here tonight. So everyone's trying to,
The steak feed, usual steak feed thing.
get up a notch.
Steak and shrimp and all that fun stuff. The things that Mike used to have for lunch when he was working here.
That didn't even feed me. Kip has a question here.
So what's the gamesmanship that goes in among your members trying to get the hotshot guests to join and win the event? Is there certain gamesmanship?
Every member guest team has got a different perspective on it. Some are serious, some are here just to entertain. Obviously, the one we have in November is to help the northern crew get out of the snow. This group has I see a lot of family members. I see a lot of best friends from high school, not necessarily from the north, traveling maybe from Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch area. But they're all coming in with a different perspective on how much fun we're going to have. Some may overindulge on occasion. Some may actually take this seriously. So it depends on what group you have and how much money you're putting on it.
But Bill and I tried to get a little creative today, and we dug a little deep, and we represented as the official member guest committee. We pulled out our green jackets that we used also during the Masters week, and
we just happened to see an incident last week that we were not going to have happen at this place. Somebody, tore apart the tee box with their driver, and had that happened here, I would have said, "Here's the road, get out of here." Gone, invitation's gone. So we're just protecting the field, protecting the golf course.
Hey,
you didn't have any Sergio wannabes?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, there's a lot of history down there at St. Pete Country Club. Our viewers out there, we talk about it all the time and on the T Florida. But why don't you just give us a little bit about the history of this club? Because it's fascinating. There's a lot of famous people and pros and things that have been through this place.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm
and then I hate to tell you, we're going to move you on because your buddy Ward Clayton's on
Oh,
I
the.
saw Ward. I saw Ward there.
we actually just did a send off to Bill this week. We have a weekly night and wine. It's a ladies golf event that happens, and we did a little promo for Bill because he's going on a road trip again for the next 6 weeks.
The ladies need me. The ladies.
Yeah, I
need
know.
me.
We need
The Golden
ladies.
Bachelor, the Golden Bachelor of St.
That's
Pete.
right. But Bill will be joining Ward. Well, actually, not joining Ward, but Bill will be going to North Carolina as well. He's going to be teaching his golf clinics at Pine Needles, the Golf Aries again this summer. So we'll miss him for a few weeks, but
And half the people thought they had passed away or something. They
I know.
like, oh God, I'm sorry.
We did a little promo where he looked like he was in a pink car driving on pink clouds headed to the promised land. So people got a little excited. They're a little bit worried about that. Yeah.
We'll have to post that clip, Adam, and give our audience the humorous side of Bill Butner. Well, we're going to talk to you two at 7:30 again, and
Sounds
good.
get us caught up. No Joe Madden though. He's at another club today, huh?
Joe Madden is playing member guest this week, and he has his guest out here today, but he's signing autographs at Palmacia for a first tee event. So we missed him tonight, but we'll see him here tomorrow.
He's big in time in you. Yeah, well, Palmacia, I love that place. I go there for the
Great
Florida
club.
Sports, the Florida. I'm sorry, the Sports Club of Tampa quite often, and that's where they host all of their luncheons. Great course. I don't know how I get on the grounds, Bill Butner, but I do.
All right, well, good. Well, we're looking forward to talking to you more at 7:30. So we're gonna maybe pull, some players right off the course. They're eating their meals now. Maybe we can kind of get behind the scenes here at member guests a little bit.
Ashley, do the impossible and try to minimize his alcohol intake before we have you on at 7:30, would you?
He's been very conservative today. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's sick. He actually has
He is very
popcorn.
conservative. Yeah. All
We've
right.
we've got popcorn in here. I don't know. Something's a little weird, a little hinky.
All right. Well, thank you. That's Ashley Grimaldi and, of course, Bill Butner, two members of our Cracker Jack team. And they're live from St. Pete Country Club and the member guest. And now we're going to switch gears and go to Ward Clayton. And I know you have a lot to ask Ward. I mean, his run at the Masters goes almost 50 years.
Absolutely. Ward, good to have you here and looking forward to hearing some of your stories about how the media came together at this past week and what you thought was the most interesting interview that occurred over the week at the National.
Well, hold on a second, everybody. Hold on. We have to introduce Ward.
Oh, you better give him his intro.
He has to get an introduction, and we're not going to do the four please thing because that's last week. That's the master kind of thing. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the 6:42 p.m. pairing on the T Florida. A longtime golf writer, historian, and author best known for documenting the people and stories connected to Augusta National. Author of the legendary Caddies of Augusta National, inside stories from golf's greatest stage. Rumored to currently live, write, and play golf in the largest city by landmass in North America, Jacksonville, Florida. Please welcome Ward Clayton.
Thank you. You guys look like you're going fishing today with those hats on. You're like you're ready to go.
Well, Ward,
That's
this is where I'm at. This is the Sea Dog, Seashell, Seaside, St. Augustine studio. So this is how we do it in St. Augustine, Florida.
Okay. Well, you're in my neck of the woods. That's perfect. That's perfect. I hope you guys are doing okay down there in Southwest Florida.
Well, they're more. What do you call you, Mike? Suncoast? Are you more like Suncoast down there?
We're the Gulf Coast. Gulf Coast.
Absolutely.
Right,
yeah.
Kip?
Gulf
Yeah,
Coast,
the
okay.
the appropriate coast, the west coast of Florida. But very interested to hear how the media came together over the last week and what you thought might have been the most interesting player interview to come out over the past week, Ward.
Well, just thank you guys for having me. Last year, Rory hit two shots down the stretch, which nobody can hit, and he hit two shots where everybody can hit. It's a terrible shot. So last week, he won the Masters and he led the field in driving distance, averaging 334 off the tee, which is unbelievable. But he was next to last among the guys who made the cut in driving accuracy. But he was also third in putting. So he sort of had both ends of the spectrum there. So that was the most interesting statistical analysis for Rory. And of course, I think he got fortunate on the last hole because he hit it right to right off the tee and got a fairly decent lie, able to advance it toward the green. I just think it's pretty phenomenal. The guy winning back to back. Now the storyline everybody's thinking about is, can he become the first guy to win 3 in a row? So I challenge you guys to tell me the guys that have won back to back in the Masters, if you guys can do that.
Well, if we go by memory, let's see. Sir Nick Faldo,
Yep.
Jack Nicklaus,
Yep.
and Tiger Woods.
Very good. You guys are on top of it.
Well,
Perfect.
we watched TV a lot over the weekend, so, and I think they repeated that like 100 times.
Yeah, I have no life. It's not like I'm educated. I just have the television on all the time. And as John said, it was very repetitive. Kip?
Well, so a good week then, a good week statistically, and certainly excitement on the back nine. Out of that, the people, and we asked the same thing to Adam. Who did you think had a chance outside of Rory when Rory started to fall back from a statistical standpoint? Who did you think statistically had the best opportunity to put on a green jacket?
I would think Cameron Young, who was in the final pairing with Rory, and probably Scotty Scheffler, because he was skyrocketing up the leaderboard. If Cameron Young would have made a couple putts, it would have been interesting there at the end. But he made 9 consecutive pars on the back nine. He couldn't make anything. So, but he was still there. Rory, of course, had a 2-stroke lead going to 18, so he had a little room to make an error. So he could definitely take blowing it right to right off the tee on 18. So those are the two guys I had. My pick was Andrew Schauffele, who finished 9th, but he never was really in the mix. He played good in the final round. He shot 68, but he was never in the mix to win the golf tournament. So I guess we can rely on Rory coming in and hitting bombs again next year.
Is it becoming
I remember from earlier episodes of On the Tee Florida that you were graciously appearing on, you were talking about the transition where you used to have the caddies at Augusta National, caddy for the players, and then it's kind of transitioned to all of the PGA Tour players have their own caddies and bring their own people. Is there any involvement with caddies of Augusta National involved with this tournament in any way, shape, or form during the tournament?
This year there was one Augusta National caddy who worked for a player. He was a Latin American amateur champion. It's a guy named Steve Kling, Kling. Steve's assistant caddy master at Augusta National. So he picked up the bag of the amateur. Of course, he just caddied for 2 rounds. He missed the cut. But the club caddies there caddy, the vast majority of the time the tournament's not going on. And they may have a bag during the Augusta National Women's Amateur, which concludes on the Saturday before. Mm-hmm. But in general, they're just working for the club members there. And players, when they come in before the Masters, they'll caddy for them also.
Well, you had mentioned the Augusta National Women's Amateur, and one of the things I was just kind of curious about, and I should have looked into this before, but I haven't, is that how do you attend that? I mean, is it as difficult to be able to get a ticket to that as it is for the regular Masters? And that seems like that would be an unbelievable opportunity to attend that, just to walk around the golf course and see what's going on if you've never been to the Masters tournament proper.
Tickets for that are sold separately. The first 2 rounds aren't that hard to get because it's a separate tournament. And then they skip Friday at Augusta National and they allow all the participants to play in a practice round. And then Saturday they play, the top 30 play the final round at Augusta National. And that ticket is difficult to get, as you would imagine. Yeah. So it's and you got a lot more Augusta National caddies working in that event There have been a number of players who have had their dad or their brother or boyfriend or something of that nature caddy for them in the first two rounds, and then when they go to Augusta National, they drop them for an Augusta National caddy because they realize they need their insight when they play that golf course.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Well,
So
well, to that,
it's
to that.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, quite all right, Ward. To your point about players having their fathers come in, obviously Rory had his father come in for a round prior to that and spent a lot of time practicing. When Rory's father Jerry would play, he would have then a caddy from the National. And how does that caddy get selected?
Whoever the best of the bunch is, we'll probably get Jerry's bag on that Sunday before, and that's a treat, I would think, to go out and caddy for Jerry when he's playing with Rory on the Sunday before the Masters, when it's pretty quiet out there on Sunday afternoon. It's sort of the quiet before the storm because the drive, chip, and putt kids were there in the morning until early afternoon. They're gone by the afternoon, so you're there playing that golf course right before everybody and their brother comes on site on Monday morning.
So it's
Hey,
an
Ward.
honor an honor then who gets it out of the caddy yard, and it's not something that Rory might pick a caddy for his father. It's something that comes about as an honor.
I'm sure it's probably a collective effort. Somebody who's done a good job will probably get first dibs, but if Rory knows caddy Joe Smith, caddy Joe Smith might be toting for Jerry. So it's I think it's dependent upon how they meet and say, hey, I know this guy, or hey, this guy's the best. That's how it's determined.
Appreciate
Hey, Ward.
the insight. Thanks.
Your book,
Sure.
Caddies of Augusta National: Inside Stories from Golf's Greatest Stage, it's one of the best golf reads in recent history of golf books that have been published.
Thank you.
And are you going to write another book? Do you have it in you? Or are you going to I want to write another book? And if you did, what would you write another book about?
Well, for the past 2 months, we were doing a podcast called The Road to Augusta, which had some success, and we had a whole host of guests on there, including people like Carl Jackson and Charlie Cootie and William Lanier, who caddies on the PGA Tours from Augusta, and we even had I'm struggling. Lawrence Bennett. Lawrence Bennett, you guys would not know Lawrence Bennett, but Lawrence Bennett for 40 years worked as the chauffeur and the overseer of the Green Jacket Augusta National.
Wow.
So the one story he told us on the podcast, which people really can't believe, is when Green Jackets get tattered, Lawrence was in charge of taking the old Green Jackets and going with the director of security and going with to a local funeral home, and they burned the Green Jackets at the funeral home.
Wow.
So,
well, there was a story about somebody went to a thrift shop or somewhere and ended up with Horton Smith's green jacket from
yeah,
the 30s or something. Is that true?
yeah, that one was true. So not only do they take it to the funeral home, but there have been occasions, according to Lawrence, where there have been members who wanted to be buried in their green jacket. And he had to go to the funeral home and go in the back when they put the green jacket on the corpse and put it in the casket. He had to watch it. He had to make sure, he had to make sure somebody didn't slip out the back door with a green jacket.
I'd want that job. What the hell?
I can see it now. The green jacket's missing. Mr. Ridley, there's a zombie. He was just walking down Washington Avenue, and he came back from the dead.
It's a whole new level, that story. Also, Sam Farmer, the writer for the LA Times 3 years ago, he got access to go into the Green Jacket vault at Augusta National, which is under the golf shop. No pictures, no video.
We lost your audio there, Ward. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Here we go.
There we go.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
we stopped at in the vault, and all of a sudden you said no pictures. And it seems like
Yeah,
at Augusta National, they're kind of monitoring this communication
they
because
are.
all
They
of a
are
sudden it
monitoring.
cut off. So tell us,
Fred
tell us.
Ridley.
So no pictures
Fred,
in the vault.
Fred Ridley's from Tampa. He's hearing this. So anyway, so there is like Get Smart technology, and you go down there as a new member, and you push a button, and when you try on the new green jacket, this door opens, and it's like this vintage gin or vintage bourbon, and you take a toast to becoming a member.
Oh man.
So it's very space age technology, and then old age technology when you take the green jacket to the local funeral home and burn it. So it's quite the to dos made of the green jacket at Augusta National.
We know it's got to be
Very
cool about
interesting
your
stories,
podcast.
Ward. I've,
Go ahead,
I've
Kip.
got one here for you, Charles. You mentioned you talked to Charles Cootie, and I had to think of him when the ace was made by Lowry on 6 this year, and of course Charles famously had an ace on that hole as well. An interesting book, I think, an interesting read would be Players and Hole-in-Ones, since there's so few that have been made at Augusta. Some thoughts on hole number 6 and how that was ace this year?
You know what's interesting about aces there? The 6 holes now been ace 17 times. Excuse me, 7 times. Number 16, I'm gonna get this number wrong, like 17 times. But the 12th hole has only been aced 3 times.
Wow.
Shortest hole in the golf course. The last time it was aced was 38 years ago, 1988. Can you
Wow.
believe that it's been?
Was that Sandy Lyle?
No, it was Curtis Strange.
Curtis Strange. Okay.
So it's the simplest green on the golf course, the shortest hole, but yet that hole has not been aced in all these years. So it's like a jinx is there for getting an ace or something. So the 16th hole, of course, has got the tee set. I mean, the hole set up on Sunday for all the balls funnel toward the hole, so you get more aces on the 16th hole when the pin's set there.
Hey, Ward, you know what's
Interesting.
really cool about your Road to Augusta podcast is that you can talk about Augusta and all the customs and traditions and things that go on year round. It never gets old. There's always, I mean, I learned so much today listening about the vault and the green jacket and the crematorium. It's just absolutely cool. So congratulations.
Crematorium
on that
when we're
podcast.
talking golf.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that podcast. I think it's good. Are you still going to continue that on throughout the year?
We just did it February through the end of the Masters, and we'll talk about what the extent of it will be next year. This is sort of we did 19 episodes this year. We did daily during the course of the tournament with wrangling some writers and broadcasters to join us. But so it was great fun to do it. And my intention was to tell the story, the culture, and the vibe of Augusta. It wasn't about birdies and bogeys per se, because as you well know, when you go to Augusta, you can talk about pimento cheese sandwiches and the theme song behind the Masters, and Charlie Cootie's caddy wearing a towel over his head when he's caddying in the tournament. There's a lot of the fabric of
Swag, like
so-
like the Masters cups.
yeah, there's a lot of people that walk around with those cups.
Masters golf ball. You can talk about swag all year.
I walked in there Saturday morning of the 3rd round at about 7:15 and got an egg salad sandwich and a cup of coffee at the concession stand, and the 3 guys in front of me were double carrying beers, and it was going to be 85 degrees that day. I just looked at those 3 guys and said, it's going to be a long day, boys.
You're watching On the Tee Florida, and that's part of our Sea Dogs and Shipyard broadcast on our YouTube channel, as well as RadioSt. and, of course, Florida Sports Streams and 96.7 FM. And Ward Clayton's kind enough to share his wisdom on the 90th and every one of the Augusta history books. And very, very fortunate to have you on, my friend.
Mike, thanks for joining me. How are you feeling? I know last week that you weren't feeling up to par. How are you doing today?
I'm rallying. The show must go on, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I agree. You got to play hurt, right?
Well, exactly. I wish that we could have had Billy Butner here for a little longer, but he's immersed in kissing babies and patting people on the back and drinking cocktails at the member guest at St. Pete Country Club.
Doesn't he do that every day anyway?
Exactly. I was just going to say that's a regular day for Bill Butner, and then he's going up to your direction, to Pine Needles, and,
Ah,
and give lessons. And I call him the Golden Bachelor when he's up there.
if you guys have never been to Pine Needles, Pinehurst Resort gets a lot of attention, but Pine Needles is really a cool place too, just down the street from it. So I'm envious of Bill Butner going up there for the summer to teach and play golf.
Well, you're married. You'd be envious if you were a single man because he's got about 58 ladies per session, and as I said, he's the Golden Bachelor up there.
Oh, hope they don't do a TV show on him. Okay.
I I would like to see him participate in the Golden Bachelor.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
You know, with all those sirens in the back, it sounds like the entryway to Augusta National.
Yeah, yeah. Mike, it's a different play. I've had the honor of being there for 42 consecutive years, not quite 50 like you alluded to earlier. But that place has changed over that period of time. It's become a lot bigger footprint. Feels a lot more of a corporate feel to it versus the intimacy of a middle-sized southern town. So it's interesting how Augusta National and the Masters have changed over these years.
Talking about Pinehurst a little bit there, it sounds like you have a soft spot there. How was Pinehurst when Judy Bell was there, and how instrumental was Judy Bell to the success of Pinehurst?
Oh, awesome. She created the family atmosphere there. Pinehurst Resort was exactly that forever. It was a resort. But Judy Bell at Pine Needles, and she made everybody feel at home. And she became such an institution there with teaching a lot of women to play golf, teaching a lot of men how to play golf, of course. So and just a cool golf course. And I think they're revitalizing it now. So I think you can probably look for even greater things about that facility over the next 5 to 10 years.
Great to hear. I agree with you completely. Pine Needles is a very, very special place.
John, one last question for our guest.
You just mentioned Pine Needles up there, and what it is a great place. I remember when you're in college and you realize you're not going to be a PGA Tour player is when you play at Pine Needles. I was playing in the tournament, played for the College of Charleston, and I finished second in the tournament. I was 3 over par for 72 holes. That was pretty good for me in college my senior year. And I realized I'm not going to be a PGA Tour player. When Gary Hallberg finished first at 11 under par, I realized that he was playing a totally different game than the rest of everybody, when he played for Wake Forest. So, but I have fond memories of Pine Needles, and what a wonderful family place. And I'm envious of Bill that gets to go up there every year and hang out and do his thing and fulfill his job description like Mike described it earlier in the broadcast.
That's when the Massachusetts-born gentleman gets his southern accent going again, right?
That's right. Yeah. Well, he's from Southern Plymouth Rock. Southern.
Yeah, he adapted pretty quickly, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
He did. Well, he loved Chapel Hill. I know he loves your area, and now he loves Pinehurst too. So he's a world traveler.
Ward Clayton, thank you very much for joining us as always, taking time out of your day. How do people find your book, my man?
The Legendary Caddies of Augusta National, you can get it at any local bookstore. You can get it ordered online. You can go through Blair Publisher, Blair, Publish, Publisher, which is located in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina. So you can purchase it via that. So hope you enjoy it. It's a story of a group of men, all black caddy corps, who caddied at Augusta National for 50 years or longer, and they deserve a lot of recognition for becoming the greatest caddy corps in the world.
One last question. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about basketball with you. What do
Sure.
you think about your new coach hire at your beloved Tar Heels?
I don't know yet. I have no idea. He's got, you can be the greatest coach in the world, but unless you got players, and you don't know what's going to happen. And now it's like getting an all-star team together every year. You got to go recruit guys every year. So we'll see what happens over the next 2 to 4 weeks and see if he's got any guys that can play or not.
It's not the good old days, my friend.
Nope,
All
I
right.
agree.
Ward Clayton,
Thanks.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
guys.
much again.
Yep.
And we'll make sure Big Red's in the conversation the next time.
Very good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Ward. Appreciate your knowledge.
I want to thank our sponsors, of course. Shipyard Brewing, now part of our we're part of their team. Sea Dog Brewing, that's where at Treasure Island. We're down here on the Intercoastal. About 7:35 will be sunset. It's perfect. The place is filling up. If you're listening or watching us in the local area, come on down. It's a great location. And then, of course, OnePriceSwipes.com just came on board. Body Armor, Coca-Cola. Body Armor just up there, Annie, with us. They came down to the opening day event that we had and saw our position in the marketplace and down there at Ferg's and part of the fabric of sports. And they jumped on a little bit more. Of course, Ferg's Sports Bar and Grill, Chichi Rodriguez Golf Club and an academy, Bardmore Golf Club, in Mangrove Bay, and all THC infused beverage, and of course, Ice Pick Vodka. Now, John Rager, we're efforting your good buddy Michael Furr. You got plans with Furr this year? There he
Hey,
is.
I think I see a Michael Furr there. Let's see what we can
That's
do.
113 playing 122. No, I'm talking to Florida.
You're on, brother.
Yeah, it looks like he's sitting up there.
I was giving caddy advice to the next group on the tee box.
Okay, well, give us advice now,
Yeah.
and put a focus factor on there. Why don't you give him a proper introduction, John?
Well, you know what Michael needs to do if he can hear this. You got to move the sun out of the background so we can see you. You got to turn.
Have
that
you ever
camera.
seen him? Have you ever seen him?
You
It
gotta
might
turn
not
the
be a
camera
bad
little
thing.
bit. You're way out there in
can't-
Texas. It's sunny out there.
Yeah, I know it. This is the only place that I could set up.
Okay, well, you know what? We will do this. We will do
We'll
it.
just stare at that we'll stare at that Texas sun and listen to your voice, brother.
Okay, we will do it. So, can you see us, Michael?
I cannot see you guys, but I'm in perfect position where the camera's in a good spot.
Okay, well, this is good. Well, so Mike and Kip, I've got a special hat I'm going to wear when I introduce Michael Furr. So, and Michael's going to have
You're
to
the
watch
hat
the
man.
replay. He's going to have to watch the replay to see this hat right here, okay? There we go. We got this hat here. I'm going to show it to our viewers first. This is something we're going to talk to Michael about out there. And this is Michael's helmet. And he left it back in Florida. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on here. See if I can get it on as best as I can. Okay. All right.
This is a clip if there ever was one.
Well, we got, we're good at the clips here. That's for sure. That's for
Oh
sure.
my
So,
God!
okay. So we're gonna come up with something for Michael here. So are you ready, everybody?
Look at him.
So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the 7:07 p.m. pairing on the T Florida. Somebody who cheats for charity. A man that is on the tournament team of the Warrior Companion golf tournament coming up June 14th and 15th in the Catskills in New York, and holds 6, and I say 6, I have 2 hands to do this, 6 Guinness World Records, and the most recent one was just established within the last few days, and I'm wearing one of his patented headwear. Let's welcome Michael Furr.
Thank you, John. Thanks for an
Hey,
awesome introduction. Michael Buffer Live.
Michael, unfortunately, our credibility has gone to hell when one of our pros looks like that. Look at Rager. Oh my God.
Hey, that's the new updated version of Alfalfa 2.0.
Hey, look, you can take a club to it. Won't hurt you, see?
I'd like to take a club to you right now. Look at that helmet. Anyway, Michael, congratulations on your most recent accomplishment with Guinness Book of World Records, and something near and dear to my heart, as I was in the creative world of building pyramids over at St. Pete Country Club for probably 90 days and gave it up. Why don't you share with our audience this recent accomplishment by you guys in the community?
Well, and thank you so much, Mike. And about 2.5 years ago, I was looking for another challenge and another record that I can involve a team and a community. And so I picked my team and the community, and we attempted to do the largest golf ball pyramid. My friends own a par 3 course and a driving range, so they have the golf balls in order to do the record. We had some great partners to help us with this. The city got involved, and we got over 3,500 citizens at a festival to sign and autograph a golf ball to add to our pyramid. And this is a town of 35,000 people, so 10% of the people that lives there got to sign a golf ball. So that was really cool in itself. From the planning stages to the preparation to the execution to the adjudication and the award of the world record, it took roughly 2.5 years. So it's not an overnight process.
2.5 years.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
That's unbelievable.
I believe I filled out the application August of 2024 for this particular record.
Was this the biggest challenge you had? And you can share with our audience that haven't seen you before on our YouTube channel here with your long drive contest and the longest shaft. Was this your biggest challenge?
Logistically speaking, I would say it was definitely the biggest challenge, the most complicated challenge, and probably the most difficult challenge to overcome. So to overcome all the obstacles and to do this record on game day in front of the entire city of Benbrook with the mayor involved, it was really rewarding. And really the next rewarding part is to award all of these teammates a Guinness World Record certificate and give them that acknowledgement that they deserve. So that's the next fun step. Was it the hardest? Logistically, it was the hardest. The 57-foot driver that I tried to do August 2025 that I failed by 14 inches on distance, that is probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Hey, Michael, one of the things I wanted to ask you, our viewers out there may want to know this, and we hear a lot about the Guinness World Records, and you're one of a handful of people that have multiple Guinness World Records out there. And you were just telling us it was a 2-year process, 2.5-year process. What is a Guinness World Record? Why don't you tell our viewers out there, what is that? Because they're in all kinds of categories, especially golf.
Yeah, they have 7 major categories. You have technology, you have health, you have sports. They have, and I obviously I'm an athlete, so I chose the sports version. There are apparently 58,000 Guinness World Records currently. This started in 1955 by 2 brothers. They paid money to attach Guinness with the name because Guinness was credibility. So that's why they're called Guinness World Records, because Guinness alcohol was very credible in Europe. So basically, it's the best Europeans against the rest of the world, and they want the Europeans to be dominant in every single record. So it's very difficult for an American to actually topple a European and take that record away just for politics' sake. Last year, there were 15,000 applicants for Guinness World Records. Only 750 of those 15,000 will be awarded a new record. So it's a 95% failure. 95% failure rate.
Wow.
Michael, in all this record setting, did you get a chance to watch the Masters over the past week? And what did you think about Scotty Scheffler, your local man's performance there? And what did the people of your town think of that?
String bean, baby. String bean.
Yeah. Oh, damn string bean. I tell you what, first player in the history of the Masters to go bogey-free on the weekend, even though he didn't win. So that says a lot. That really says a lot. He shot two under the first day, 2 over the second day. And that 2 over on the second day on Friday is what kind of cost him, Poor Bryson DeChambeau, if he could get out of the sand, he would have played the weekend, 7 shots later in bunkers, he's on the plane going home.
Hey, Michael, I know you can't see this, but our viewers can. So I'm holding up this red helmet that I was has the MF on the front, stands for Michael Furr, red, white, and blue. It's on the side of this helmet is Guinness World Records. and there's a giant T on top. And the reason I'm mentioning this up is I'm holding up a golf ball that says Warrior Companion. And we had mentioned that you are on the Warrior Companion golf team, and there's a special event coming up in the Catskills in June. Why don't you tell us about your involvement with Warrior Companion and what that is?
Jack Bodolowski is a retired Army combat medic, and he owns an animal hospital with his wife up in New York. And pets and vets is his passion. So he created this charity, Warrior Companion, that provides insurance to service animals to disabled veterans and first responders. We no longer call it pet insurance because there's a difference between a pet and a service animal. So he's come such a long ways. I believe in him, his mission, his message. I would do anything for Warrior Companion and my buddy Doc.
Hey, one thing about
I was going to say we do have two tournaments.
Go ahead, Michael.
We have two tournaments coming up. One on Slot Day for June 14th at the Golf Club of Sullivan County, and I'll be appearing there with our Rodney Dangerfield comedian guy. He'll be on the heckler hole, and then I'll also return October 4th for another repeat performance at the last fall venue there. So I'm not raising money. I'm actually showing up there because my fees are included in the entry fees. So every team gets to participate and try our big 8-foot driver challenge. So,
hey,
looking
Michael,
forward to it.
I did mention when I introduced you the Cheat for Charity. You know, it's a thing. If you go to Warrior Companion podcast, you'll see on the web, you'll see a flyer for Cheat for Charity. You have raised a substantial amount of money for charity. Why don't you tell us about how much you've raised over the years for charity? It's pretty amazing.
$1 million. I finally eclipsed $1 million for charity. And I just pretended to hit a ball off your head right here, John, by the way.
Well, that's why I brought this helmet out too, because we were down in Tampa filming a commercial, and we were in the area, and we talked. We had Jack on the T Florida, back at Ferg's, back in maybe April or May last year. But you actually hit a golf ball off of Jack's head. Jack was wearing this helmet, and you hit a Warrior Companion golf ball off his head. And
yes.
And the reason I'm showing this so much at this broadcast, my wife wants me to get this helmet out of the house. I got to ship it back to you.
I don't blame her.
It probably makes her nervous.
Yeah, along with a lot of other things. Hey, I thought that you had done it, John.
Oh no,
he was the supervisor.
Michael can hit a golf ball off my head anytime because he's got skills and ability, but I wouldn't let you do it, Mike Rickard.
No, you would, if you had full body armor on, you wouldn't want me swinging at it. Hey, Michael, let's go back to Scotty Scheffler String Bean because this is one of the first times that you've been on our video broadcast. Share the story about him wearing long pants as a young kid, some of the unique nuances that we may not know, but you guys in the Dallas place know of his upbringing and how close he is to his family and his friends back there. Talk a little bit about Scotty.
He's always been an adult, even when he was a little kid. He always wanted to be a grown professional, and he knows that the professionals are not allowed to wear shorts. Even when we go play as a guest at a club, if we ask for permission, we probably would be allowed. But for the professional sake and the appearance sake, we're supposed to be wearing slacks. If you are a professional, you're supposed to look like one. So at Royal Oaks Country Club, where his coach, Randy Smith, has been there for over 35 years, he always wore slacks on the driving range. And Lee Trevino would say, why are you wearing slacks? Why are you wearing long pants? He says, because I want to be like the pros one day. Because he always wanted to be one. Justin Leonard is from that club. Colt Knost is from that club. Gary Woodland is also works out of that club because he's come back to his coach Randy. So Great place, man. Great place.
What do you think, Michael, might have been some of the similarities that Randy would teach to the Justin Leonards and the Scotties, the Colton Austs, that was a similar driving factor that got them to be such great players over the years? Is there one thing in particular?
If you think about all of those players, every single one of them has a trademark swing that's totally different from the other one. Even Mr. Slippy Slide, Scotty Scheffler, with him sliding his feet, he's done that since he was a little kid. If he did it on his toes, he would have no balance, right? We always tell our golfers to don't be on your toes, because if we shake your hand and you're leaning forwards, you have no balance. We can pull you over with one finger. So with him being on his heels, it just gives him that leverage that he needs. And it's all about keeping it simple, right? Keeping it simple, following your routine, keeping it simple. You know, they're not doing a whole lot of stuff, you know. And really, even with Gary Woodland, when he was struggling, his wife told him to go back and see Randy. And Randy told him to quit being a baby, quit babying it. And he was babying the ball. He wasn't hitting it with authority like he should. He wasn't aggressive like he should. It was a little bit of a pushover. And so that turned the tide. That turned the tides for Gary Woodland. And what a great story that is.
Hey, Michael, I'm looking behind you there. It looks like a little dog-leg right golf hole there. It looks beautiful. It looks like you need to aim left a little bit, I guess. Where are you?
I'm at Texas 9. It's a par 3 golf course here. So we're actually on the 5th hole looking across the water. It's about 125 yards. And the rest of that is the driving range. So I'm on the back end of the driving range here.
Oh, well, we can handle a 125-yard shot. We go for the green on that hole.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Here, I got this shot. Here, I gotta hit this shot. Here, watch out, sir. I won't hit you.
We have to take your word for it. We can't see that, brother.
Oh shit! It's going about 250 yards off my knees.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Coach Randy and the 8-foot driver. Have you ever had the opportunity to put the 8-foot driver in Coach Randy? And what would Coach Randy? What would he be wanting to do with that? And it probably goes into some of the things that he taught Scotty and Colt and Justin over the years with balance. Is that accurate?
I mean, I've known Randy for 25 years. I was caddy master at Royal Oaks Country Club, so he's always known me as the caddy guy. You know, I've been a club professional for a long time too, which is what got me to doing trick shots and golf entertainment. But yes, I've taken the 8-foot drivers out there. I'm here at the KJ Choi Winter Training Facility. All the world-class junior South Koreans are right here. I bring my big drivers out here and stuff, and KJ doesn't like it. They don't like you to be messing with their golfers with stuff that is not relevant. So yeah, same thing for Randy. He's not a big fan. You know, it's like even the world-class kid yesterday. He did 5 practice swings with the 8-foot driver and went to hit a 7-iron, and he topped it, hit it 20 feet. I mean, this kid's one of the top 100 junior golfers in the world, you know. But it's fun. I set him up for that. I set him up for it.
Well, you're hanging around guys in the NFL. The no fun life. They don't want you having a little sidetrack to their players apparently.
Wednesday, I'm playing golf with one of your Tampa boys, Kenny Gant. Kenny Gant, he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, Dallas Cowboy, but he went to high school in Florida, went to college in Florida, and he finished his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, we're playing golf with him on Wednesday, have a little bit of fun. So, speaking of the NFL, yes, sir.
Well, you get him lined up for our Saturday show, Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection. We have a lot of, as John can attest to, we have a lot of the Bucks alumni, and we certainly did in the 50th anniversary of the Bucks. So I'd love to get him on and see what he has to say about you.
I texted you his contact number and told him that Tampa Bay St. Pete's would like to have him on the show, and so he's all game for it. So I'll resend that to you again. All right.
I think I did reach out to him, and he didn't recognize my number. But let's get him on. That'd be superb.
I'll tell him. I'll tell him that you're going to contact him, and I'll also send him your phone number so that he has it already in his phone, so there's no shock.
All right, my man. When are you and John? You're all collectively getting together again. You going to be there, John?
Yeah, I'm driving
yeah,
up to. I'll be meeting Michael up there for the Warrior Companion Golf Tournament. Doc Bodo, known as Jack Bodolowski, the founder, told me that he had. It's a little 9-hole golf course that's owned by Bill Murray and Jason Kelsey and Tom Coyne, the famous golf writer. And so it's a 9-hole golf tournament, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, June 14th. Going to be a special day. Going to have a little food afterwards, and going to have a lot of fun. There's a golf cart, Michael. I think Jack's been keeping you up to date on that. He got a golf cart donated, and they're going to wrap it with all the Warrior Companion and stuff. And we'll have some of those Warrior Companion dogs up there. Sophia, I think, will be up there, and we're just going to have a great time. And Michael, I look forward to getting up there and spending some time with you up in the Catskills. I saw pictures last year when you went up there. I was kind of jealous. Real beautiful areas. So now we both get to enjoy this tournament and raise some money for a great cause, Warrior Companion.
We'll see how good you are, John Rager. If you get Bill Murray and Kelsey on.
It's
I'm
about
just proud to
15
be
miles
there.
from Woodstock. It's about
How
15
many
miles
miles?
from Woodstock. About 15 miles from Woodstock. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. We have to go down there and look for some hippie beads that they were buried in the soil after the concert blew out in 1969. Yeah, okay.
John's probably still got his bell bottoms. He can wear them. All right, Michael Furr, appreciate you taking time to join us. And as always, very informative, entertaining, and the work you're doing. We're going to call you the $1 million man now, the $1 million man, Michael Furr, for all you've done for charity in the greater Dallas area.
On to a lot more world records.
Oh, yeah. I may be done with my world records. I don't know. I'm glad to have this one behind me. 2.5 years, it takes a lot of patience and, just following the process. I'm very thankful for my team, thankful for the promotion, thankful for the message. The message is all about community and inclusion, to be able to include others to be part of the record, even if it's just signing their name to the golf ball. It's not about us. It wasn't about us. It was about the message and about the community record. So happy for that.
All right, my man. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll give you a shout next week when we'll talk about a couple of other topics.
Thank you so much for having me, and all the Floridians. You guys rock on.
All right, rock on there, Michael.
Michael Furr, he doesn't lack for energy, does he?
That's why I say he makes coffee nervous, Mike.
I know you do. It cracks me up. Let's thank some of our sponsors before then we go back out to St. Pete Country Club. Of course, as I mentioned, Shipyard Brewing, now a big player in our world, and we'll be talking more about that with all of our productions. Shipyard Brewing Connection will be the parent, and I'm looking forward to that evolution. We're down here at Sea Dogs, and the place just started filling up. These all your neighbors, Kip?
They are. Boy, they keep rolling in this. The bar always fills up, and I can't decide if it's because of the great wait staff they have here, the great beverages they have here, or the number of TVs. There is truly a television that is by every seat here. So whatever game it is that you want to see, and certainly the Rays, as well as they played, a lot of the Rays fans are coming out here. You definitely got to get out to Sea Dogs if you haven't been out here before.
I think Fred Forsley got tired, boys, of us being down at Ferg's and saying all the television angles, and they just keep adding televisions here, which is superb for us. And Adam Fernandez is looking for the perfect spot for us on Thursdays when we do podcasts, and we'll continue to add podcasts down here at Sea Dogs Brewery on Treasure Island, right across from Sunset Beach. And as I said, about 7:35 is sunset, and it's going to be a wonderful week. You live what, a mile and a half away?
Yeah, right down the road. We're by here all the time. Stop in the afternoon, and catch a baseball game here, catch the tour. I love to watch the tour here, and I learn a lot. Similar to tonight, learned a lot tonight listening to Ward Clayton, and certainly, boy, that Adam, he is something out there. You are so fortunate to have Adam there, and his knowledge of the tour is.
I've tried to compensate
tremendous.
him. The kid's just he's a genuine guy, and for the most part, everybody we've talked to is.
Yeah, love it. Let's move on to our next segment. I know that we've got Bill coming back, and we got Ashley, and I want to see how Bill does after a half an hour there at a member guest not being on with us.
I bet he takes it kind of easy, John Rager, in front of the membership. That's just a guess.
Hey, the member guest at any private club, like we talked about earlier in the broadcast here, is the special time that you can have for a 3 or 4 or 5 day period. And it's just, it's really cool that St. Pete Country Club actually has 2 of them. They have a large enough membership that just not one member guest is enough. You have to have 2 of them. But, a member guest is a chance for a club to show off its best traits. It's a good membership recruiting tool, those kind of things. And so you have to have a pro emeritus. You have to have a guy like Bill that is the pro. And because you need to have one of those guys hanging around the member guests, because sometimes these guests can get out of hand. Maybe the members too, and they take it maybe a little too seriously. And I think that Bill can bring him back to earth and keep everybody entertained and having a good time. So, especially if you wear a big brim hat like that, you are in charge. You are large and in charge with a hat like that.
Your trademark is your hat. And at St. Pete Country Club, you look out on the range, and you'll see Big Red wearing that hat all the time, and that's his trademark as well. So
we got management here.
Yeah.
We got everybody floating around here.
There's a lot going on right now.
There's a
It's
lot
hard to
going
keep
on.
up. Hard to keep up.
Well, let's talk about the format again for our audience that just joined us right here on our YouTube channel, live from Sea Dogs Brewery, and you're watching and listening to the Tampa St. Pete Sports Connection production of On the Tee, Florida. So, Ash,
How you doing?
oh, I thought you heard me. So tell us a little bit about what happens tonight's activities.
Well, let me show you. Mr. Ray Arthur's in here. Ray, member guest. Member guest activity. We have a 2-man team deal going on. Net event. We did a little. We're not getting Zach in there though. That's true. But we had a 64 club bet.
My small chair.
If you shoot a net or better, you win a piece of the prize. We have throw skins, net skins. There's a lot of things going on close to the pins. John knows all about this stuff.
We shot 67.
So this is a loser right here, but it's only the practice round.
We're gonna win the whole thing.
He's going to win the whole thing. It's like Augusta. You don't win the par 3 and the tournament in the same year.
Yeah.
So he's saving it for the tournament.
you don't-
Bill
you
was
don't-
62. We had a 62. We had a 63. What's that?
No, 62. Holy cow! They just ruined their handicap for the
62
weekend.
net.
Yeah, holy smokes.
Yeah, though that's a problem.
Well, they had a combined handicap of 47, so it's not that hard.
That is true. That's a good
You
point.
get a par for an eagle.
Yeah, we did have a couple of net eagles, and you know how that goes there,
We got
Don.
8 shots, so we had to grind.
Oh, had to grind. I'll bet you had to grind.
We did.
But it's a beautiful evening here.
This is our first night at member guest. So this runs Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So today is actually considered the practice round. Tomorrow's when the serious stuff begins. But it's kind of fun for our members because they can invite guests from all over the country to come. Reyes, it's a fine example of a member that reached out.
Washington,
Yep. We have his friend.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yep. Mr. Zach Bass,
Yep.
who came in from Washington, D.C. So he traveled a long way to be here.
Oh, what
It's
a
a
great
very
name
serious,
that is for a
uh,
golfer. Holy smokes. Is that your real
Zach
name?
Bass.
Yeah, Zach Bass. Yeah.
That's not like
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I've been called worse names, so.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
So-
I don't travel as much as you would think with that name, but
But no, it's great to be down here. It's great weather. Although we got some of this weather this week up in the DC area. Truth be told, I'm in the Virginia part of the DC area, so yeah,
Good.
Alexandria.
Part of the DMV.
I'm inside the Beltway.
There we go.
Yeah, Springfield's outside the Beltway.
How is golf different? How would you compare Florida golf to playing Washington, D.C.?
We don't have green grass yet.
There you go.
For us in the Bermuda courses, we're finally getting green grass this week. So my eyes are adjusting to it for sure.
So what made you want to make the commitment to our friend here, Ray Archer, to come down for this tournament this weekend?
Well, it's kind of flipping the roles. That it was like kind of make a wish that he invited me. You know, heavy set, over 40-year-old guys that he invited to like play in a member guest. So, you know, salt of the earth guy, Ray is. So
You got to pick people that you're going to enjoy spending 3-4 days with.
It's true, and it's
If you
difficult.
play
sometimes.
bad, you're not mad. You're having a great time. There might be some after golf activities that happen, but great memories and friendships. And then, you know, just try to beat a couple people and ruin somebody's day if you're playing bad.
yep.
Actually, Bill, I feel like this would actually be John Rieger's scene because we have hand-rolled cigars going on. We have bourbon tonight. Seems like it's right up your alley.
Oh my goodness, cigars and bourbon.
Could have been here.
Holy
And
smokes.
baseball.
And hey, what a name for this team, Bass Archer. I like that. It's kind of like
Bass Archer, the Bass Archer team.
They're going to be
You've been called worse, so.
they're going to be shooting and fishing for birdies all weekend.
Zach,
I
is
have
this
a
your
question.
first time St. Pete Country
Think of
Club?
that one.
Is this your first time here?
It is my first time here. Yeah.
And what do you think so far?
Well, besides the social media team at St. Petersburg Country Club and the Wednesday 9 and Wine,
9 and 1. See,
Like-
a 9 and wine fan. We got a 9 and wine fan.
Chef's kiss. No, it was awesome. I mean, again, I'm anything above 70-degree weather. I'm enjoying being in the Mid-Atlantic, but no, it was a great course and the greens were rolling great. It was a fun time. So
No, was that a co-ed wine and dine? Because normally it's Bill and 12 incredibly beautiful women at the wine and dine. Did they let the men crash their party this week?
the wine and dine. You're right. I've never thought about that from the times tuning in because I don't use social media. I don't post anything.
Yeah.
But what a boondoggle that he's got. That he's around a bunch of women and like while they're drinking and everything. Like smart guy.
Old Butter, the mover and shaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just classic.
and they think I got a face for radio too. Come on now.
You got a voice for the radio. What are you talking about?
Well, now you're on YouTube. You got something, Kip?
I was just wondering, being up in the D.C. area, if any of your golfing buddies up there have talked about the congressional member guest and what might go on in that area and how a member guest at a club like that compares to what you're seeing down here. And I'm also always intrigued to hear what Bill might say about the Seminole member guest and how legendary that is, and if you can draw anything from that event and try and incorporate it into your event there.
Well, I'm not a smart man. I married a very smart, beautiful woman that wanted to join a club, and so I've only done one
Is
member.
she blind? Is she blind?
She is blind, but she's into heavy set guys with a lispy voice and a bad golf game. But I would love to get the invite to Congressional. I've only attended some events there, but the club I'm at, it's mirrored just the same. So I've only done 1 year of it, and it's cool to like that. I have a little bit of knowledge, but this is my virgin experience of being the guest at a club. So.
And are we spoiling him right?
Yeah, that's
Bring him on this show. Can you believe that, Mike? Bring him on this show as an inaugural visit.
And I'm just trying to be the guest in D.C.
Well, that's the thing.
No pressure.
So, Ray, could you actually tell us? So, I thought when I was talking to these two that they had a long relationship. They have a great rapport. I thought for sure 20-year friends. Turns out they just met each other in September on a golf trip.
So we have some mutual
Wow.
friends.
Yes.
And a buddy of ours, Phil, puts a golf trip together every year. Happened to be Kohler. It's Wisconsin, so Whistling Straits and all those. We threw Aaron Hills in for the first day.
Was that your first time being on the course?
First time ever being in Wisconsin and meeting most of these guys, and me and Zach hit it off. And then the second member guest came up, and the head pro had asked me, some people had backed out if he would take the spot. And I said, I'm going to call one buddy that I would thoroughly enjoy playing golf with for 3 days.
Lost the bet.
And I texted Zach, and he said yes. And then our mutual buddy Phil is not really happy with that situation. There's been some very sly text messages on the sides, and
So what
jealousy.
So what I'm hearing and in analyzing what that statement was, he basically said he lost the bet. Is what he just said.
Hey, Bill, you know
It
what
might
I'm
have been a
hearing?
bet, yeah.
Here's what I
But
just
two
heard.
down automatics. You keep pressing till you win.
Here's what I just heard. Zach Bass has just lost his member guest golf virginity at this tournament because he said he was a virgin for the member guest, and I think by the time the weekend's over, that will not be the descriptive title for you.
You always remember your first, right? So I'll remember Ray and St. Pete's Country Club, and
91.
Bill Butner, especially.
well, yeah.
Some of us are missing.
Yeah.
Some of the 91 is missing. I understand.
Bill showed me a very artsy video before my round of golf swings and everything. So during the hurricane.
The hurricane.
So yeah. But I will give a shameless plug that my stepbrother's Lewis Family Cancer Fund. It's in Winter Haven, Florida this weekend. So if this gets to my stepdad, apparently my mom's don't tell him. But my stepbrothers bring down the mood a bit. His wife died 30 years ago. They met Fuzzy Zeller. My stepbrothers walked with him at the Disney Pro-Am, stayed family friends. And so they do a cancer fund. My older stepbrother passed away. And so, but I'm choosing this over that. I told my mom I love her. I like that, but sing a little bit in for that, But it's, I have a lot of love for the Central Florida area.
And again, reading between the lines, he lost his bet.
Yeah.
Not all friendships are made over 8 years. It can only be 8 months.
No, the heart wants what the heart wants, So
I have a quick question actually for Ray. So tonight we know that Joe Madden is actually playing
Yep.
in the member guest, and I know that you played with him a few times. What is it like playing golf with a baseball legend like Joe?
Oh, it's so easy. It's all the guy wants to talk about is golf. He'll definitely talk baseball with you. Big Pearl Jam fan, music and.
Yeah, really.
Oh, Joe is a big music guy. So
Pearl
he's one of the-
Jam?
Oh yeah, big Pearl Jam
Woke
guy.
him up. Who woke Mike
Yeah.
up?
Joe Madden is one of the easiest people to ever play golf with as a celebrity. You're never going to feel big league, very positive. The guy's just flat out
Well,
awesome.
I got a lot to live up to, don't I?
You do, Bill. You've never played golf with me in 10
I
years
know.
that I've known you.
I know that, but I got
10 years that I've known Bill Butner's never played golf with me.
But I got
He
to
big,
live up
he
to that.
big times you like he big times everybody else?
Yeah, no, I have to go to North Carolina, and I'm actually going next month while he's there, and he's already come up with excuses.
You know what he does sometimes? He actually will play left-handed with people just to kind of give them a fair chance.
A false sense of security. Yeah.
Yeah.
No question.
I mean, I just want to play with the Tour Pro Bill Butner in the red sweater vest. It's pure cotton.
Wow. Yeah, the pants should be cotton too. Don't worry.
Oh, definitely cotton pants.
all caught.
It's hard here,
Well-
Mike. Being a member guest on the first round is very hard because they're young in the game. They're just getting in town. We got
I flew in this morning.
a
Yeah.
sunset here.
I got a little chill right now.
We'd love to talk to our cigar roller or possibly our bourbon rep from Saserac that's here as well.
Let's grab them. We got to go make some bets, and the table's closed.
Oh boy.
We got to go full degenerate and bet the long shots, baby.
We're gonna let you go. I've got bail money on me, Bill Butner. If you need anything,
Oh, look at that.
It's my first call. I know he'll wake up.
That's actually true. That's what you get after being a longtime pro.
Yeah.
Wake
Me
up
and Bill
those early
Butner work a
routines.
lot of unofficial Sunday mornings together, putting games together and parents and
Is that the one iron that I've never got?
Well, good luck to Zach and Ray this weekend, and good luck to Ashley and Bill at the St. Pete Country Club member guests this
Ooh.
weekend.
Fighting all the way in. Where I
Thank
don't
you,
want to
guys.
we're flight 3 early picks.
All
We
right.
have a lot of bets on
a
us.
lot of people
Like,
already
all
called us
right.
before we bet.
I think
that's
that
kind of
Zach,
like make a wish.
Thank you.
that Zach Bass is kind of a camera hog, wouldn't you say? All right, Ashley. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on.
That's live. That's live from St. Pete Country Club. And those shenanigans. What do you think of that, Kip?
Well, that's always the takeaway there, that the entertainers want to hang out with the baseball guys. The golfers want to hang out with the music guys. And to hear that Joe Madden is a Pearl Jam guy makes perfect sense, because Eddie Vetner is a huge Cub fan. So much of a Cub fan.
Yeah, I forgot.
That on stage, he'll wear batting helmets. He wears a Cubs batting helmet out on stage. So it's it's only a given that Joe would be a big fan of Eddie's, and Eddie vice versa of Joe.
Hey, we got to do a little plug for PGA Superstore, and I'm going to let Kip read that, and I know John did. We've had them on the show, and they're going to be heavily involved, but this is good news for the people of St. Pete and even Tampa in the surrounding area.
It is indeed, because we've got them coming right to our neighborhood, and there'll be such good neighbors of ours. They wanted folks in the neighborhood here to know that starting April 22nd and 23rd, they'll have a hiring event at the Fairfield Inn and Marriott in St. Petersburg North. So if you're looking to get employed in the golf industry to work at the PGA Tour Superstore, head there on April 22nd or 23rd to the Fairfield Inn and Marriott, St. Petersburg North. And they're looking to fill the positions there for the opening of their St. Petersburg location on June 13th of 2026. And that'll be at the Crosswinds Shopping Center at 2020 66th Street. So the new store coming here, if you got a deep passion for golf with the Gulf Coast in mind, come by there, get a job, or certainly be ready to go June 13th. We heard so many good things about the store and what was going on in South Florida, and all the celebrities that came through there. They even talked about Michael Jordan and his love of golf and him coming to the PGA Tour Superstore that's down in South. So who knows who we might see here? Fred McGriff's a big local golf guy, right? We might see him over there.
And our buddy Teddy Bruschi has caddied for him. By the way, speaking of Teddy Bruschi, who we love, he actually caddied for Terrell Hatton's chef today.
Well, I would have liked to have been at the post game for that. The food had to be wonderful.
John Rager, what's the significance of your logo there? Just the PGA
Tour?
Tour?
Well, no, Kip, he was talking about the PGA Tour Superstore, so I thought I would bring out one of my pieces of memorabilia that I have hanging on the wall and just make sure we give some love into the PGA Tour Superstore on behalf of On the Tee Florida.
I was eyeing up that Michelob bag in the back you got too, John. That's a beautiful bag there.
Hey, let's before we wind things down, near and dear to John's heart, and the more I watch it, the more it's growing on me. So we've got the episode today. Why don't you introduce it, John, and then we'll play it.
Well, for our listeners out there, we have a segment. We have a special listener that good friend of mine that actually has quite a bit of personality, and he's just well suited for On the Tee Florida. And it's and what we do, it's called Wild Bill's Golf Weather. So if you go at Wild Bill, you'll find him on all the social media. And he does a golf weather report from each week from wherever the PGA Tour is. Plus, I'll add a little banter about the customs and the fun that people have at these golf tournaments each week on the PGA Tour. So this is called the On the Tee Florida is Mic'd Up. And Mic'd Up is a company based out of San Francisco, and we do podcasts with famous celebrities and athletes from all over the world. And On the Tee Florida is now Mic'd Up, and we have an episode here of Wild Bill's Golf Weather Report, and this week it's the RBC Heritage.
Mic'd Up.
Welcome, everybody. I'm John Rager, PJ Mic'd Up broadcaster and host of this segment called Wild Bill's Golf Weather. Hey, what happened there? What happened?
I'm anxious to hear it, but I'm
we
anxious
rocking
to have
and rolling, baby. Let's try that again. Let's cue that up.
Adam's
which always does play an integral part
of
the tournament outcome. We'll also include some banter about Mad Nation and the firing of the cannon. Now it's time for the man who has so much energy he can make a cup of coffee nervous. Wild Bill Suro for his take on this week's weather on the PGA Tour.
Woohoo! How you doing there, Coach? Ha ha! The RBC Heritage. Or some would call it the RBC Invitational. This elite PGA Tour signature event moves up to South Carolina to the Harbortown Golf Links on Hilton Head Island. Surprisingly, I learned that Hilton Head Island is the second largest barrier island, but more specifically, Hilton Head Island is part of the Sea Islands, which are characterized as short, wider barrier islands that formed during the Ice Age, John. Hilton Head Island is actually 12 miles long and 5 miles wide, a very distinct difference from the longer, much narrower barrier islands found in North Carolina. And a 12-mile long island means 12 miles of beaches. These beaches, the wide island base of the island, and the extensive tidal marches throughout the island serve as a protective barrier for the mainland of South Carolina. Now, springtime in Hilton Head Island is considered to be one of the best times to be there, and this week's weather will not disappoint. As this week's PGA Tour moves up to Hilton Head Island, our elite players are going to take out a very challenging course with narrow fairways, large overhanging trees, and very small Bermuda and POA greens. That coupled with a very strategic layout designed by Pete Dye and Jack Nicklaus, this course is not for the bombers. And with the weather this week, they're going to have at the RBC and these very small greens in this dry weather, their greens are going to be faster than expected, and they're going to require a lot of precision. So as our players move into Thursday on the first day, we're going to see sunshine. Sunshine to the right, sunshine to the left, sunshine on my shoulders. There's going to be sunshine everywhere, and the players are going to start the morning in the low 70s, moving to the high 70s, and back to the low 70s by dinner time. Not a cloud in the sky. And did I mention the sunshine? Oh, and no rain, just sunshine. Now on Friday, it's going to show some changes as some scattered clouds early in the morning and a few more clouds around mid-afternoon, but still a lot of sunshine. Temps will start around 69 degrees and get as high as 83 around 2 o'clock before dropping to the high 70s around dinner time, and still no rain there, John. Now Saturday, or Plaid Day, that brings more clouds in the morning, keeping the temps to more pleasant 70s and up to 85 in the mid-afternoon as the clouds thin out throughout the day. Getting back down to 79 at dinner time. Still not a drop of rain to be found, only dry sea spray. On our final day, Sunday, we'll bring more clouds, just casting shadows, no rain, as the temperatures once again start in the 70s, reach a low 80s, and then back to the high 70s as the champion is crowned by the RBC Heritage. And maybe they might be wearing a crown like I am. That's a far cry from the weather known from the origin of plaids and kilts. They might want to trade in those plaid jackets for some swim shorts. What do you think there, John?
Well, that's quite a weather report there, and I guess all in all, it's just going to be a great 4 days of weather up there in the South
Beautiful.
Carolina Low Country, and hey, this is like I think it's the 58th playing of this tournament, and you just mentioned plaid a bunch of times, and for viewers out there, plaid. It's called tartan plaid. We don't qualify with our plaid. I don't think this is tartan plaid.
You don't got it red there.
but what they do, that's an integral part of this tournament. Scottish Heritage Golf, tartan plaid. The winner of the tournament, just like last week, the Masters got the green jacket. They get a plaid jacket. They get to do that. And
very interesting.
And I know I was scrambling around. This is the best plaid I got, and we're probably, this is probably a warring clan of the Tartans or whatever. When when that happened back in Mel Gibson, Freedom 1580 or something.
You wearing your kilt?
So I see that you've got a plaid shirt on. I'm not sure that qualifies either. That looks more like Iowa farmhand than it does Scottish plaid. But we'll go with it. It's the spirit of it all. I'm not sure why you're wearing a crown. They don't crown.
In Scotland, they had kings. And
well, they do.
The RBC Heritage.
They have King Charles, right? So I guess that's appropriate. Yep. It may be a great idea for this tournament committee to give a crown away, too, with the plaid jacket.
I think they need to turn the trophy into a crown.
I can only come up with a plaid cup, which is very close. Very close to a tartan plaid. So I can come up with that.
Are you wearing a kilt today, John?
Well, that's the beauty of doing these podcasts because, we only can show from the waist up a little bit. So we don't know what's going on down there. Hey, let's shift gears to the firing of the cannon. Why don't you tell us about the firing of the cannon at this tournament? Again, just like every tour event, they all have their, fun things and customs. And we just came off the week of the Masters where everything you do from eating a pimento cheese sandwich to looking at the scoreboard is all customs and all heritage and history. But they fire a cannon here. Tell us what that's about.
Well, it's my understanding that they fire a cannon as a ceremonial cannon as somebody tees off the golf ball. And with a cannon, if anybody doesn't know how to fire a cannon, and I actually have a cannon, and I actually have a cannon that shoots golf balls, believe it or not. It's about yay big, about the size of a golf ball, and you pack it with powder, you pack it with wadding, you put the golf ball in, you light a fuse, and this golf ball probably can go about 4 to 5 miles if you fire it right at the right angle. I wouldn't want to be in front of that. That would be the longest tee shot ever.
Hey, Boeing is a big sponsor of this tournament.
I heard that.
And in fact, they saved this tournament years ago. Not too many years ago. They were, they just didn't have a sponsor, and Boeing stepped up. They've got manufacturing in South Carolina, and they stepped up, and they fly what they call a Dreamliner. And they buzz the golf course with the Dreamliner, usually on Saturday. And they literally, the tournament stops to watch this big Dreamliner Boeing buzz the whole golf course, which is pretty cool.
They should all tee up and try to hit it with golf balls. Or we can use the cannon.
What they also do is that Calabogie Sound, they have people that sit on their boats and watch the golf tournament. Now they're not close enough to actually see very well, but they got it on television. And so every year when the champion makes the final putt, to win the tournament, however that works out, they're all on their horns, blowing the horn away, sitting out there, in a boat. So, I know you're a boating, avid boating person. And I think that you may need to take your boat up there to Calabogie Sound, drop a line and catch some dinner and watch the finish of the Heritage.
That could be a trip up there we might have to consider one day.
But there's something else special about it, too. There's a gentleman named Greg Russell, and they did a documentary on his life this year, and Jim Nantz narrated it.
Jim Nantz, the same guy that speaks on the TV for the Masters.
Hello, friends. That's Jim Nantz. That's correct.
He's also on my golden tee.
Exactly. Well, I think Peter Jacobson's on there, too.
Yes, he is.
But, so what they do is there's something called the Liberty Tree. Okay. And, and when you watch this tournament, you're there in person. If you watch it, there's a lighthouse right there. Hilton Head's very famous for that. There's a little harbor there and all the yachts are in there and you got the lighthouse. But nearby is called the Liberty Tree. This is giant oak tree, hundreds of years old. And Greg Russell, he's a musician. And he's been playing under that tree. I believe it's like Memorial Day to Labor Day or something, because a lot of families come up there to vacation. And he plays a guitar, very family-friendly song, and this and that and the other. And he's just world famous. Anywhere that people travel around, if they've ever been to Hilton Head, they know Greg Russell, and they did a nice documentary on him. He literally just showed up in a van back in, I think, 1970 or something like that, when they were first developing Hilton Head, and just picked up a gig playing a guitar under the tree, and he hasn't left since.
It's my understanding that on Sunday under the Liberty Tree, they have a Sunday church service every year, and it sounds like there's a huge turnout for that.
Well, I think there is, yeah, and especially for some of the players out there that maybe have, like Sergio broke a tee marker in a club on the 17th hole or something. So, maybe they have to do a little repentance right under the tree on Sunday morning.
Well, he's repenting for the club breaking last week or something.
Well, I tell you, those tour players are acting bad last week. I mean,
yes,
you had somebody give an obscene street gesture. I think it was Robert McIntyre, and Sergio's breaking tee markers and clubs, and
he left that club like 5 times before it broke.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Of course, Augusta National, they'll just probably send Sergio a bill to replace the tee marker. Of course, it'll be like $100,000, something like that.
It was just a log.
Well, anyway, so there you have it. You've been listening to Wild Bill's Golf Weather, sponsored by Sea Dog Brew Pub, Treasure Island. For On the Tee Florida, I'm your host, mic'd up broadcaster John Rager, PGA. And remember to always carry an umbrella in case it rains. See you next week.
Well, John Rager,
Yeah.
it's growing on me. I love that last after the weather report. I love the banter and some of the history. So
Well, that's what it's
we'll
all about. It's about the weather report and it's about the banter. And each week you get specific banter to that PGA Tour event. And actually, forecasting down the road, I will be at the U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills this year with a On the Tee Florida Wild Bill weather report is mic'd up. So plan ahead, everybody.
Bravo, and tell Wild Bill we appreciate it. Where did he get that homemade crown?
Oh, you should see his repertoire of stuff. It's pretty amazing.
All right, we got to wind down. Great job today, John. Great job. Of course, Kip, thank you for coming down. Ward Clayton, Michael Furr, Ashley Grimaldi, and Bill Butner. Joe Bedreau at RadioSt. And our video producer, that's Adam Fernandez, and our superb interns, Nikila, and of course, Jake. God bless you. God bless America. Have a championship weekend. And remember to hit them straight and keep it in the short grass.